Hi, it's John here from Speedy Brick, and today I'm going to be conducting my second interview of a Lego fan designer, and so I'm quite looking forward to this. I had a really interesting conversation with Daniel Helms in the first interview that I did, and I quite like the format. You can go back and look at that on my channel. So I reached out to a few other designers, and a couple of them have agreed to be interviewed as well. And I've done some builds of theirs, so that was quite good. And so the second interview is with Sybrin Hendrikx. He's from SFH Bricks, and he's agreed to have a chat. Sybrin is an amazing designer. He's done a couple of builds that I've built myself, which are the two maps on the wall behind there, which he's selling through the Block Zone, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy one of those or one of the other Formula One race circuits that he's built. So I've got Spa and the Red Bull Ring. Oops, sorry, over here. But he's also built and designed an enormous collection of other sets. And one of the things that I really like is his Le Mans series, or World Endurance Championship series. And he's built those in Speed Champion scale. And so he's kind of really turning his passion for those World Endurance Championship cars into a business. He's selling them on Rebrickable, the designs on Rebrickable, and you can buy stickers as well. So you can check out his incredible designs on Rebrickable. I'll put the link in below. On his Instagram page, I'll also put the link in below. And because he's working with the Block Zone for the Formula One circuits over here, I'll put the link in for that as well. You can use the Speedy Brick promo code to get 10% off if you buy those. So don't forget that. So it's not very often that we get to speak to a fellow Lego designer, fan designer like us. So I was really interested to talk to him and find out, kind of what inspires him, talk to him about his designs, how he got started, and all that sort of stuff. So let's welcome Sybrin Hendrikx from SFH Bricks. Sybrin, thanks for joining us.
Morning, John. Thanks for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. Firstly, I love the Formula Race Circuits series. They're on the wall in my office. Thanks for helping out with the instructions. It was really, really cool. And they look great on the wall. They kind of fit with the whole theme that I've got going here as well with all the other car stuff. So perhaps you could start by just telling us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you? What do you do for a living? That sort of stuff.
All right. Welcome everyone. I'm Sybrin from SFH Bricks. I live in the Netherlands and I'm currently studying architecture at the university. When I'm not studying, I of course make lots of Lego models. Of course, the track maps that you have, but I think most of you also know me by the Le Mans series that I currently do, and some other cars as well. That's a bit about me.
Cool. So you've got some pretty impressive designs on Rebrickable. And you have some great skills being developed over the years, obviously. So how long have you been building Lego, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, that's a long story. I think the first set that I had, that started, I think, when I was around 4 years old, and ever since that has stuck. So I never quit. And actually now, what sort of started as a hobby, actually has become a bit of a work. I'm now currently in the home office that I have now. It's still a bit plain, but I'm working on decorating it a bit more. There is Lego behind here, but you don't see it that much. But so now I'm doing that next to the university studies.
And do you have a favorite Lego theme? Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship cars are a passion, obviously. But what about other themes? What do you think difference between Technic and System, and tell us about that?
I think it might not come as a surprise that the current Speed Champions team is, of course, my favorite, because it's a very, very innovative team, and also brings a lot of new techniques. I learned everything. Every time they release new sets, I learn new things. But I do also like the ideas and the icons theme. I have a lot of sets of those. Of course, the large icon scale cars, but also some of the architecture models. The Magic Castle is actually behind me. Of course, you don't see it now, but that's behind me as well. That was quite a nice set to actually put together. A lot of small details.
Yeah, I see you've got the McLaren icon set behind you. I've got it behind me as well.
Yeah, that you can actually see.
Yeah.
Oh, the other side.
I've got one as well over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool set, that one. What's your feeling between Technic and System?
There was a phase that I actually really liked the Technic sets. Yeah, that has actually stopped because the thing that I really liked about the Technic sets was the functionality that they had. And I believe in the period of 2010 up until 18, 19, roughly around that age, the sets were really focused on like the functionality and what they could do and stuff. And also the B models, of course, were a big plus for me because the whole journey that I started was with Creator, and the whole thing that fascinated me was that you had a certain amount of brakes where you could basically do anything with. That was the thing that fascinated me most about Technic. Only the recent years, now it's really focused on the aesthetics and basically the functions of the recent focus of Technic has now shifted from functionality to more aesthetics. So the interest of me in the Technic team has actually dilapidated a bit. I do have some recent Technic sets like the Peugeot hypercar and the smaller Bugatti, but yeah, I rarely buy Technic nowadays because of that. Because it lost that spark a bit. In my opinion.
That the McLaren icon set is a really good combination of the two, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It combines great looks and was also quite fun to build. And of course, the engine bay is very nice and very detailed. Yeah, I actually wanted to display it without the engine cover, but yeah, then the other part of me questions myself where to put it. But the engine bay is just pure gorgeousness.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like this new front suspension elements that they put in as well.
Yeah, they are functional in a bit if you flex them a bit. So that's also quite nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's hope they get reused as well in perhaps other Formula cars or perhaps even very different sets.
And do you have a kind of one set that's your favorite set from Lego?
Yeah, perhaps that's an old one out, but Ideas set from Wally from a few years ago, I think 2015. Yeah, that's the top of the tier. I think if I were to keep one thing, it would be Wally.
I hadn't got that one actually, but I came back.
Yeah, it's quite rare to find nowadays because it's a very desirable set at the moment.
Yeah, and it becomes expensive, eh?
Oh yes. I think back in the day it was like $50.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, really, isn't it? I also see that you're collaborating with the Brick Sticker Shop to produce your decals or stickers. Are you collaborating with anybody else, with either companies? Obviously, you're collaborating with for the race maps. You're collaborating with the Block Zone. But what about other people? Do you co-design with people, or do you do anything along those lines?
Currently, I have the collaborations in terms of the model making with Brick Sticker Shop, of course, for all the race car models and some other cars where we reproduce stickers for. And the reason that I partner with them is because they are quite close to me. They also are in the Netherlands, and I know their quality. So I really like the work that they deliver and also the quality that we can put together to actually make these high-end models. And then, of course, for the track maps, partner with Block Zone, actually produce the full roster of the Formula One circuits and Le Mans as well. And in terms of model partners, those are the two partners that I actually work with. But then I also have the commission-based work that I do. The past year, I partnered with two student teams, one in Eindhoven, one in Delft, and we actually co-designed their race car. So they actually have their own race car that they work on day and night now, actually as a Lego model, which was quite nice.
Yeah, that is such a cool car. So maybe you could tell us about that, because it's a bit divergent from Lego, but it's such a cool project. This hydrogen-powered Le Mans car. It's pretty amazing. Yeah,
it's a very impressive piece of engineering, and the team Forza from Delft, they're now working. This is the 9th iteration, if I'm correct. Yeah, the 9th car that they're actually working on. So there were eight predecessors, and every time they get faster, more reliable, and also a lot bigger. That's an ongoing theme as well. And they try to make it as competitive as possible to, in the end, actually put it on races and make it compete against other combustion or electrical cars.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. And so you've made a Speed Champions sized version of that car, right?
Yes. And I was actually also invited when they publicly released the car. When they put it on the first run, I was also invited to the partner event. So we also had a photo shoot with the real car and the small Lego car.
Cool.
In comparison, the very, very small Lego car and the very big car, but that was quite nice.
And so people can buy the design and they can buy the stickers and build it as well.
Yes. And for the team, because they were so enthusiastic about the model, they asked if I could order like a dozen models for them. So in the past months, I sorted, checked, and packaged all of these sets for them, and recently got shipped out. And I think this Tuesday they got delivered. So now they can not only work on the real car, but they can also work on building the small car. I think that will be a lot less problematic, but perhaps it can prove challenging as well. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'll put the link for that specific model. I'll put it in the Brick Sticker Shop link and the Rebrickable link. So if people want to build it, it's really cool. Real car built by students. So I'll put the links in below. So
yeah, and the funny thing is also there was a decision with the team we made at the end of the designing stage. We also incorporated the hydrogen fuel cells, the fuel tanks in the back of the model as a small Easter egg.
That's really cool detail. I'll have to get out and build that one. So I can imagine you invest an enormous amount of time and effort in making these models. How much time does it normally take? And what's your process? What do you do?
Yeah, that can vary very greatly, because I have some models that are like finished in 2 hours that I start with, and then everything goes well and it's all smooth sailing, and then they're finished within a day. That I look at myself and think, how did I do this? And then there are also some other models. This one in particular, this is the 1998 Porsche 911 GT1. I think this one was on the design bench for about 2 months.
Just show it to the camera again.
And the reason that it took so long to design this one, yeah, it is indeed the long tail. This part of the car over here, so from the mirrors until the back, I think that was done in the first week. So there I was quite happy quite quickly. But then the front, that's where the amount of time actually went into, because I want to get these headlights at the right angle. And I think it took about 26 variants to find the perfect or at least the best compromise that I could find to get the headlights in with the shape from the side profile. So that took quite a lot of time and quite a lot of trial and error to find that out. And what I typically do is first I start with the reference, like the base dimensions, the base proportions, and then I do a combination of first digital and then simultaneously also physical, because I also test every model that I do, because I transport them a lot, and often I also build them a lot. And then what I want to have is not that they break very easily. The models that I build are typically on the very sturdy side of things, because I transport them a lot, and what I don't want is that they break whenever I touch them. So I prefer them to be a bit more sturdy compared to other mocks, because I've built a few from community members or when I saw them, and then they looked very nice, but the moment you touch them, they just fell apart. Also value the experience you have as well when you not only put them on display, but also want to take a closer look at them, that they actually will hold. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I try to build some stability in my mocks as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult aspect as well, because often what you have to sacrifice then is looks, but then I think the best moment when designing is actually when you find the balance between comfort and aesthetics.
Sounds like you should work for Lego.
Could be. You have to move to Denmark.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a nice place as well, right? So, what digital tool do you use? Do you use Studio.io or using something else?
Yeah, I use Studio or Stud.io indeed. It's quite a nice tool.
Yeah.
I use it for making the models, for testing the models, making the instructions, doing the renders, basically anything. And then next to that, I also always do the physical test build, because Studio doesn't have gravity.
No.
And it doesn't have collision, or at least not proper collision mechanics. So sometimes something works in studio and then you test it in real life and then you have to go back to the drawing board because it doesn't work in real life. Always a good thing to test with physical bricks and to have the prototype actually built, because studio can only tell you so much.
It's quite a challenge to move from, kind of building as you go, designing as you go, physical bricks, and then trying to do it in studio. I found that quite a challenge when I started using studio because, I couldn't even remember what I did to make the physical models. I had to take it apart to put it into studio. But
it does happen sometimes for me as well that I put it together and then I need to take it apart to actually see what I actually did there. But sometimes those building steps are still on my head. That's also how I design the instructions as well. The way that I put it together also comes in the instruction. That is of course also a lot of looking how Lego does the instructions, because they are always very ordered. Trying to build up the model like that works quite well. So for instance, sometimes you have layers and layers, otherwise you use the sideways techniques, for instance studs not on top, or you have like the sub-assemblies, which I do a lot. That also helps keep the complexity down and make the build also enjoyable and a bit better to remember as well. I even start completely in physical and then at the very end I put it in studio. Sometimes that works, sometimes you need some studio help as well, because I don't have all the physical bricks in my arsenal yet. Typically I can now make full prototypes with the bricks that I have. Sometimes we need to take apart a model, but the more I get, the less that happens actually.
how many bricks have you got?
I don't know. I don't know. I think if I had to count them, I will contact you in about 2 months. Quite a lot, I would say. Quite a lot.
So coming back to the instructions and the decals. So I presume you're using Stud.io for making the instructions.
Yeah.
And are you using Part Designer for the special parts? And
yes, I use Part Designer to map all the stickers on there. Part Designer is quite limited in that sense, especially with every part that's curved basically is inaccurate.
Yes.
Because Part Designer just warps them a lot, so it's a bit of fiddling around there. For instance, the headlights here you see. If you see them in Part Designer, they're all wonky. So Part Designer is just, I have to use it. I don't really like it, but there's not really a better option at the moment. But for now it works. It shows you where the sticker needs to go, and that's about it.
So if you're doing a render, how do you do that then?
Yeah, the render often goes also with Studio, and then of course the stickers are important via Part Designer. But what I sometimes also do, I had to do that for the Alpine a bit. Sometimes when you have curved stickers or very complex shapes, I just put them in with Photoshop, and then actually they look a bit better, and then they don't get fully warped, because there I can control how they actually position on the brick. So sometimes when I have these complex shapes, I do most of the work with Part Designer with the stickers, but then the more complex areas, such as for instance the headlights or the canopy, I put those in with Photoshop, and then I can also grade them a bit, make them a bit better, a bit more realistic, like you would have them in real life.
Yeah, because your renders look amazing. The ones on Instagram look incredible.
Oh, the one on Instagram actually don't use the renders. Those are all photos.
Okay, even better.
Yeah, I always prefer the photos over the renders, because the renders you can manipulate so much, but the photos it's the real thing on the background.
Yeah.
So what you see is actually what you get.
Yeah,
that's what I prefer.
So I'll put in a link to your Rubrical page, to Blockzone, and to Instagram in the description, so everyone can see all the designs you've got and of course buy them, right? So perhaps we can talk about the race circuits. That I think you've got the Le Mans circuit there as well, right? So I've built Spa and
with me here.
Yeah, cool.
It's a bit bigger than the car models, so I have to go a bit back, but this is the Le Mans track. Of course, if I had to get one track out of all the ones that I designed, I want to get this one. So I have that here at home at display.
Yeah. So it's a really cool concept. How did you come up with it? And
the way I came up with the tracks was actually I built, of course, a lot of the race cars, and I also at one time I thought it would be nice to have something to pair them up against, with to have something additional to the race cars, perhaps the tracks that they raced on. And for the longest time, I had some posters on my bedroom hanging, those simple black and white posters with just the track layout, and I thought at one point, can I make this into Lego?
Yeah.
That's the whole history. So I started playing around with techniques. First, I started with some wedge plates and some angling panels to see if I could do a brick build, but then you quickly find out it becomes very jagged and very compromised design. So at one time I had these flex tubes laying around because I had one pneumatic set, and then I started testing with bending, and then I actually found some ways to for instance make the corners and put the chicane in, and then I started with designing the track. So the first one I think I did was Sanford, and then I did Spa, the one you have at the back. Yeah, that is actually how the track maps came to be.
Yeah.
Then first I had them just on the black design. That's where I shoot most of the photos with. But then later on, I thought we can also put the flags in there to give them a bit more character. So that is how they evolved.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so you've built how many circuits? It's 25 or?
I think there are currently 24 on Blockzone. Those are the ones that are published, and then I have a few more. I think that I'm either currently working on or have designed. For instance, I think I did I did Daytona as well, and I was working on Sebring as well. The 12 hours of Sebring circuit they raised in IMSA one. So I also have some other tracks. Oh yeah, and one of my favorite tracks that I also did was the Sepang circuit in Malaysia. It's currently not raced on anymore by Formula One. Big shame.
Yeah,
that's not on me, but that I also designed because it's a very nice track.
So I'll put a link in below where they can be brought from the Block Zone, and with the Block Zone you get the design and the parts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Lego. We have to make that clear, but the quality's good. The build is good. The instructions are easy to follow. If you like this sort of thing to add to your wall, I can certainly recommend it. It's great for the atmosphere as well, right? So the other thing I thought would be really cool to talk about is the Le Mans cars. And you've got an enormous collection now.
It's ever growing, and more are still on the way.
What's the most challenging part of creating these cars? Because you do it quite quickly, from what I can see. A new design comes out, and then you've already got a model like very shortly afterwards.
Yeah, sometimes it goes quite quickly, like I told you, and sometimes it takes a while. For instance, when the moment like the car chassis model gets revealed, I start working on it, so I have the shape ready. And then of course it's waiting for the final livery and stuff. Sometimes that gets revealed quite quickly, sometimes immediately. But in other cases, for instance, with the Alpine, it took quite a while for the final livery was announced. And then you have that in-between period where you actually have to wait quite some time. For instance, the Lamborghini that I did quite recently, the SC63, the base model I already had finished quite early, but it took a long time for the final livery for the WEC series, the World Endurance, actually got unveiled with all the right decals and all the right stickers. So I had to wait quite a long time before I could actually release that model. But it was sitting on the shelf quite a long time. So that often takes the longest time, just from the initial photos of the car to the final design that you actually see racing on track, because I want to get them as accurate as possible. And sometimes that takes a lot of waiting time before the final livery gets revealed. But for the classic cars that I do, for instance the Porsche I showed, those have already raced. So those that's an easier part. But for the newer ones, like the most recent hypercars, it takes some time before you see the final model going on track, and then I can start working on the final Lego model.
And I think this year, one of the cars, they started with no wing and then they added a wing.
Yes, the Peugeot. Yeah, I have that currently also in development now. I did the 2023 already, the gray car. And now I'm currently working on the updated one with the wing. It has a quite complex livery, so that takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So is that the most challenging part, is creating the livery?
A lot of time goes into there. A lot of forward and backward with Brick Sticker Shop to get all the details right, all the shapes right. Because not only I test the Lego model, but also the sticker. So before you or anyone else gets the sticker sheet, I've already checked that before to see whether all the decals align, all the livery parts and all the logos match up with what initially was the plan and the layout, and also that the size of the stickers doesn't get too big. because sometimes we introduce new molds or new stickers for parts we haven't done before, and then we need to check whether the size actually works.
And there's a lot of new parts coming from Lego, particularly from the Speed Champions release. There's a lot of new parts coming now, right? So.
Yeah, we have the BMW. I think you also showed in the previous video that has these new wedge curves at the front, which I'm also planning to use for future models. So those will be, for instance, new new sticker formats, which also needs to be tested. Currently I think annually they produce like 50 or perhaps even 100 new parts. So it's hard to keep track with, but to actually make them work and also use them, because a lot of the new parts that come out are actually quite useful. I have the McLaren has these slopes on the stand, the gray slopes, and they actually work perfect with the Peugeot design. And the funny thing is they existed in white before, and now they came in gray in the McLaren and also in the, I think, the June Ornithopter. Finally, I have them now for
this part here.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Finally, I have it for the Peugeot in the design, and then they switch the livery to white. Also check the availability of parts for models, because I try to limit the palette that I use to parts that are currently in production, so it is also easier and also a lot more affordable to purchase models. Because if you use a lot of parts that are already out of stock or have been produced in like 4 or 5 years, then it becomes very hard to find that. Sometimes I do have to use those parts because there's simply not another way. For instance, the wheel arches on the Lamborghini, there have only been a few lime green parts that actually could work with that. So sometimes I have to break that rule a bit, but when I can, I try to stick to parts that actually work the best. And in the case for the Alpine, now we actually had to use the black parts of these for the headlights. So the new wedge curves, these ones. But the funny thing is, this year they also come in blue. So I actually don't have to use black ones anymore.
Yeah. So what's your favorite building technique that you like to use in, designing these models?
I think the one that I use most frequently and the one that I quite like to do a lot is the sideways construction as well. Typically, a lot of the models that I have feature the studs facing in almost all directions, sometimes even going down. And I think a nice technique, for instance, that I used on the 911 GT1 and also the first model that I ever designed is the overlapping paneling technique. Because if you just offset them, you can get the panel here just beneath the tile, and then it actually becomes the splitter on the side. So it is just the full panel under there. And then if you just overlay the tile, the 2x6 tile with a bracket, then you can just squeeze them together and actually create a new look with the existing parts. There's also finding a bit sometimes some nice part uses in there as well. I've used, for instance, the revolver guns as well for Jaguar model. Yeah, some other parts.
I love it when the designers are putting in these kind of little secret pieces that are for a totally different purpose. That's pretty cool. So is there anything you would have, kind of liked to be able to add, but you just haven't been able to do it yet because the parts aren't available or, whatever?
What is really lacking now in the department of available parts is the rims, because we've actually now, since the updated version to the dual molded rims that we've actually got since I believe 21, we've only got two types of rims that are actually reoccurring. We've got, I think, 1 or 2 special ones with the DB5, the classic spoke rims, and the Fast and Furious car with the 6-spoke wheels. But apart from that, we don't have any other wheels, so it's very limiting in that sense if you try to use only existing and in-producing parts, because there's only 2 options and neither of them is, I think, a good fit for any of the cars that I do. I think I've only used one of them for a model, but yeah. The rims that we actually had before that, before the 21 edition, actually when we had the rim and the tire as a separate piece, those are the ones I actually still keep using. So for instance, they are still on the Alpine you see here. This roughly matches the rim that they actually have or sometimes I do even custom printed rims from some very creative and very nifty people in the community.
Yep.
To actually get the exact rim that it is. That would be a nice thing if the department actually added some more rim variety, because we've had plenty of them in the past, but now we just have two, and then in two colors, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's boring as.
Yeah. We've seen the 9-spoke and the 5-spoke design now for 4 years, and nothing has changed, and they still use it on every car.
The Lambo with the disc.
Yeah, I think it's a nice in between, but yeah, you would love to see actual rims instead of like printed things.
Yeah, it's pretty limited.
Yeah,
Isn't
in
it?
some cases, for instance, those with the Lamborghini and also the one that is coming out division, they can be very singular use, but you also have some rims that are quite versatile in their sense. For instance, if you do like the double 5-spoke or double 10-spoke, that can be used in a lot of cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, for instance, those rotary dishes you saw on the Countach, of course, they only look good on the Countach, and that's about it. So I get the why they did it that way. I think would be really nice, and also a lot of help to community builders like me that build these cars, to actually have a bit more variety in the rim department, because yeah, we just have 2 options.
Yeah.
We can make, I think now, 8 combinations, because we do have some more colors of the back rim, but yeah, still the rims, yeah, more rims.
And these slick tires also,
Yes.
they're also not very good. But
Yeah,
they're also makes it
I've gotten
limited.
a lot of requests also from some fans as well, to use those slick tires actually on the race cars that I do, and I've actually tested them. But the unfortunate thing is that they are ever so slightly wider than the existing rims. So if you actually put them on for the BMW, you can see it quite well. They actually protrude out of the fender a bit. Yeah, and I think for these cars, they should be like very flat on the side. Actually, the rims go in a bit deeper as well. So
Yeah.
in that sense, they do ruin it a bit. So that is why I'm currently not really using them, but they will be on an upcoming model, but then a bit differently.
I actually put on the Le Mans BMW. I put I took the slicks off and put normal tires.
Oh yeah, I also used
Does it look better?
your mod for the rear wing as well, to make it a bit more smooth.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Good man. So what projects are you working on now?
What I'm currently I'm working on a lot of projects. I just showed you the BMW, so perhaps that's an interesting one to start, because that's also what I get a lot of questions about. I am working on my own BMW. Yeah, it doesn't have the stickers yet, because that's still a work in development. But if I put them side by side, I think you will see the most differences, because I've worked a lot on the front. And while I do think the set is quite nice and it does capture the model, if you look at it from a distance, when you get close, you start to see like the limitations of the system of the designers as well. So there are a lot of areas that are quite good, and also that I like, but there are also a few areas that I think could have been a lot better. For instance, the headlights.
Yeah.
They're not really headlights.
No, they're not.
And if you look at the car from the front, you barely see them.
Yeah, you can see them.
Yeah. So what I did, I do have a second sticker sheet of the BMW, so that's why there are some decals on here. But what I tried to do was to redesign the entire front and to actually have the headlights pointing forward like they should.
That's straight away better, right?
Yeah, that does fix a lot. But I also plan to make like full-on headlights, that you actually have more than just two dashes.
Yeah, that's going to be more complicated.
Yeah, so that is one of the ongoing projects. I have a few more, so I'm planning a new series. Like every year, I try to do a new classic series. So I started with the 80s with the Group C cars, which are quite beloved by all the fans. And then last year I did all the 90s cars, so the GT1s. The Porsche I showed is one of that. And now I'm in June I'm gonna unveil the next series of classic cars. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I've currently, one of them is now finished, so I still need to do the other 4. So there's still some work ahead. But yeah, I've already got 2 now actually in the test building phase. So one is completely finished and the other ones are now currently being tested. So I have part of that, but not a full build yet. And then next July, I have a Lego Expo coming up. So I often attend to these expos as well. And now I'm actually going to build the first diorama as well with a completely new model range on them.
Oh, cool.
There's actually not going to be race cars, as some might have think.
So where's the expo?
It's going to be in a town called Horst in the Netherlands.
And what's the date? I'll put that in the description. I will get the details and I'll put it in the description. So if anyone wants to go and meet you and have a look at your expo, then
yeah, typically a lot of the new models that are not up there yet are on the expo because they already have them built. So if you want to preview models or see them early, then the expos are definitely the way to go.
Sounds good.
They have a pre-look to what's coming.
So thank you very much for all your insights into what you're doing, and it's really cool to talk to you about it and learn more about all the new projects that are coming up. So I really appreciate the time that you've given us, and it's been really nice meeting you and hearing about the designs and all that sort of stuff. And for our audience out there, if you want to see any of the designs or buy the instructions or buy one of the circuits, I'll put the links in below so you'll be able to see those. So I hope you enjoyed this interview with Sybrin, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more of these sort of videos. And until next time, happy building. Bye. Please click to subscribe for more videos and watch my build and review videos by clicking here. Thank you.